Mark Livingstone about to join us. And if you don't know Mark, he is the head honcho of Cornerstone First Financial, my favorite mortgage company of all time. Anybody that goes there, well, they call me up and they say, John, you're brilliant for sending me there. I'm like, hey, you know what? I just gave you the phone number. By the way, it's 866-625-1221. Mark Livingstone, great to have you with us, Cornerstone First Financial.
Good morning, my friend, and great to be here. Greetings from Washington, D.C.
You're in the middle of the cabal.
Middle of it, right in the thick of things.
Belly of the beast. Now, you just got back from Egypt. I got
right.
I got a few tweets from one of our listeners, Sue in Chesapeake or Virginia Beach, saying that you went to Egypt with her.
Yes, I did. I just returned from one of the best trips I've ever been on, 15 days in absolutely beautiful, sunny, and safe, may I add, very safe, Egypt. And while I was there, John, I got to tell you the funniest story. Well, first of all, Egypt has just fallen apart economically as far as tourism is concerned, okay? One of the biggest incomes for Egypt, besides the Suez Canal, is tourism. And after the revolution of 2011, just people, because of fear, stopped going to Egypt. And I just want to say that never once did I feel fearful. And if there's any message I can get across to your listeners about Egypt, now is the time to go. There's not a lot of tourists. And with that said, we were going to the Valley of the Kings, where King Tut's tomb was discovered in 1922 by Henry Carter. And we were taking the trolley up the path to King Tut's tomb, and it was just the most beautiful weather, and I'm sitting on the trolley there, and I meet a couple who we started talking and engaging, and they said they were from Virginia Beach area. And I said, I know someone down in the Virginia Beach area. Do you know John Fredericks? And Sue Sherrill says to me, know him. I listen to him every single morning. And I go, well, then you probably know Mark Livingstone. She goes, of course. And she looked at my name badge and laughed out loud. And I just was floored that all the way in Egypt, just outside of Luxor, in the Valley of the Kings, John Fredericks, you were spoken about in a very high way. It was just hilarious.
We're galactical. We're galactic.
Yes, you are. You are global, my friend.
I'm global in Egypt. Hey, man, we're in the Middle East. We're all over the place. Now, that is a great story, and thank you for sharing that with me and our audience. And now, Mark, you haven't been on in a while because you've been all over the globe, and that gives you that breadth of knowledge, right, that you have. But give us an overview and update on the mortgage industry and the market.
Well, let's go back a little bit. The last time I was on, John, was literally right after the Fed had announced that they had raised the interest rate from the 0% by a quarter, okay? And Janet Yellen indicated that she was going to do 4 more rate hikes in 2016. So there was a flurry of activity. For the first time in 10 years, the Fed had initiated a rate hike, and we saw rates go back to levels that we haven't seen in a couple of years, back up into the mid-4s. Well, amid some global economic concerns and financial development as risk to the U.S. outlook, yesterday, literally 24 hours ago, the Fed announced that they are not going to raise the interest rates, and they have decided that they're going to do it twice this year instead of 4 times this year. They also lowered their GDP outlook, the gross domestic products, from 2.4, which they said in December was their outlook, down to 2.2. So the takeaway, what this means to the listeners, John, the great news is that they are not raising rates the 4 times that they indicated they were going to. The bad news takeaway is that Janet Yellen has indicated that she will, when she raises it, it may not just be the 0.25% she had indicated. It could go as much as 0.5 to 0.75%. So what that means is that, yes, good news, they're not raising rates right away. Bad news is it is imminent. Bad news is it's going to be likely higher than the 0.25% that she had indicated the 4 times they were going to do.
So look,
my message to the listeners is to get on board right now. And if you are thinking of doing anything in the next 6, 8, 12 months, now is the time to act.
Now's the time to act because obviously you got great rates right now. They're going to go up, so you're time to refi or purchase right now. But here's the other thing. If you're looking for a traditional mortgage going through a traditional bank, go ahead and do that. Then, just to get a second pair of eyes, call up Mark Livingstone or one of his agents at 866-625-1221, 866-625-1221, toll-free number, and get a second quotation. It's going to knock your socks off, all right? I've had so many people, Mark, call me up and say, look, I went to this bank, that bank, A bank, B bank. I was all set. You know what? I took your advice. I picked up the phone. I dialed 866-625-1211, and I saved X. I saved X thousands of dollars. I saved X dollars a month. I got a better deal. I got it in like an hour and a half. So that's the thing. Go through your traditional stuff. You understand that. But at the end of the day, before you sign anything, call 866-625-1221. Now, before we get into this other stuff, I just want you to expound on this for our audience, Mark, because somebody will go through Wells Fargo or they'll go through Town Bank and they'll get a mortgage and then they call you up and they get a better deal in an hour and a half. Why?
Well, it's funny because that's a great segue, John. Last time we were on the air, you pretty much indicated that, yes, we at Cornerstone can do loans that other banks turn down. And right after that show, I received a call from Loretta Spangler down there in Virginia Beach. Loretta Spangler is an unmarried surviving spouse of a veteran. She had been to two other banks down there in Virginia that have both said that she doesn't qualify because she owed more than what her house was worth. She heard you and I going back and forth on the radio and said, hey, Mark, I've been to two other banks. I'm calling you. I heard what John said. Can you at least look at my scenario and see if there's something you can do? Well, Loretta owes $170,000 on her house down there in Virginia Beach, and the house appraised for $165,000. Like I said, she's an unmarried surviving spouse of a veteran, and because she has a VA loan currently, we were able to do the VA IRRRLs, the interest rate reduction refinance loan, that you can take from one VA loan and go to the other. And we lowered her from 6.5% to 3.5%, saving her $400 a month. And the other banks wouldn't take her because they called her upside down. They said she had no equity. They said that she'd have to bring a large amount of money to closing to pay down her mortgage. Well, here at Cornerstone, we are aligned with so many different lenders that offer products out there, and we can go with a VA IRRRLs loan with no equity and save her $400.
That's an amazing story because, to save $400 a month, that's a car payment and the insurance. That you can buy a lot of stuff with $5,000 cash money, and just by picking up the phone and calling you up. Now, this is the main thing. I want to talk about reverse mortgages, and you're offering that now for seniors, and they're now being called home pensions. Why?
Well, because there was a lot of negative connotations with the term reverse mortgage. When they first came out about 25 years ago, unfortunately, there were some wolves, we'll call them, in the pack that were taking advantage of these seniors. There wasn't a lot of regulations, and so financial advisors, would offer these reverse mortgages and then sometimes have the seniors take that money and put them into annuities or invest them with them. Well, now what's happened is they've really started to pick up momentum because really, if a senior wants to live the life that they're used to in their home, it's an excellent vehicle to allow them to do that. And so now they're changing the name on the reverse mortgages to home pensions. And it's an excellent tool, like I just said, to add into the retirement. You don't have to necessarily take the equity out of the house. You can set up the reverse mortgage, and then if and when you need it, either for an emergency or to go on that trip you've always wanted to go on, then you can take the equity out. It just allows it to be available to the senior while they're still living in the home.
So sometimes when people look at reverse mortgages, they're like, well, something could happen and then I could lose my home. Kind of walk us through that scenario. Something changes.
Right. So the reverse mortgage, what it does is it bases the amount of equity a senior can take out of the home on an actuarial table based on their age between 62 and 99. So if somebody calls me and they're 62 years old, John, and they want to take out a reverse mortgage, they have to have a lot more equity in the home than, say, somebody who's 75.
Right.
Because the life expectancy of the 75-year-old is less than, obviously, somebody who's 62. So what it does is it allows the senior to tap into that home, tap into the equity of the home, and withdraw the equity out while they're still living in the house. If they live longer than the life expectancy, let's say they live to be 110 years old, and they've withdrawn all the cash out of the house, and they continue to receive proceeds for as long as they live, they still will never owe more money than what the home is worth because it is an FHA-backed loan. So HUD insures that loan, so they will never owe more than what it's worth. And when they pass on, or when they decide to move down to sunny Florida, and the heirs get the rights of the home, the heirs can sell the house and never owe more than 95% of the appraised value.
See,
Did I just put a fire hose on you?
No, I mean, that is something that people should take advantage of if they need to get the cash out, no question. And so check it out, 866-625-1221, 866-625-1221. Call Mark now or go online, cornerstonefirst.com, cornerstonefirst.com. Also, I understand that you're now licensed in the Sunshine State.
That is absolutely true. We just got licensed as of January 11th. And the reason that I did that was strategic because you have so many people moving from this area, John, down to the Sunshine State, retirees. And we're now offering a product called a reverse purchase. And what that does, it is allows the senior to take the money out of the home they're selling, say up here in Virginia, Richmond, or Arlington, or wherever, and then as long as they put enough money down, they can buy a home with a reverse mortgage, and as long as they're in that home, they never have to make a payment.
I mean, that is just fantastic. You know what?
And
you got to take advantage of this. And the time to refi is now, or check it out. Right now, you can pick up the phone and find out that if you refi your home, your payment will go down dramatically. It's worth a phone call, 866-625-1221. 866-625-1221. Call Mark Livingstone or go to cornerstonefirst.com. Mark, I want to talk about veterans loans and what is available, cashing out to 100%, and what we typically call VA IRRLS. Now, that is a long acronym, right?
Right, exactly, and it can confuse some.
It's
but did
confusing.
you know, John, that your listeners are in one of the most condensed areas in the country for veterans? There's 22 million veterans in the United States, okay, and 250,000 people are transitioning from military to civilian life every year. Now, your listening area is home to, I believe it's 0.25% of all the veterans in the entire country. So no wonder we're getting so much traction from your listeners with the VA loans. And right now, the VA IRRLS, the interest rate reduction refinance loan, is that loan. It's a streamlined refinance for veterans who currently have a VA loan, and they can just refinance whether they have equity or not. And it's streamlined. There's no closing costs, and boom, VA loan to VA loan. The other product that we're seeing a lot of traction with, John, from your listeners primarily, is the VA cash out, because very, very few banks are offering this, where you can go to 100% of the appraised value and take cash out. So if somebody owes $150,000 and their house is worth $200,000, they can get $50,000 cash in hand to do whatever they want with, whether it's repairing the home, buying a second home, paying down debt, whatever it is, it's 100% cash out. These are just great programs offered to our heroes, the veterans of the United States.
And the thing is, you want to take advantage of these now and lock in because interest rates are so low, they're going to go up. Look, you said this, Mark, at the beginning of the show. You cannot artificially depress interest rates under market in perpetuity. At some point, quantitative easing goes away, all the stuff goes away, and they start to rise, right? It's a matter of time.
Absolutely. And, you know, yesterday I locked somebody in. The rates on the 30-year VA loan right now is at 3.5%, and that's with us paying the closing costs, okay?
Right.
The other thing is that we offer a free rate renegotiation. And what that means is that in a market where the rates are fluctuating as much as they are, we will float you down at no cost whatsoever if rates get better while we're processing your loan. So we lock you in. You're in no problem whatsoever of the rate going up. However, the rates drop, we will get you the better rate.
See, that is just a great program. Now, to take advantage of this, and let me tell you something else. If you want to buy a refi and you've got a credit score like mine that's not like something you would, send out and put up on a marquee or anything. Let's say you're in the 580, the 590 range. Okay, look, stuff happens. We went through a recession. Things happen. You own a business, it goes down, you get behind, your credit gets dinged. Let's say you're in that 580 range, 590, and you've been turned down. Mark can get you a mortgage. He can get you a refi if you're 580, 590, 600. Don't hesitate. 866-625-1221. 866-625-1221. Call him right now or go to cornerstonefirst.com. cornerstonefirst.com. Mark, I've got about a minute. Final word.
Final word is, as you said, call now because rates rising is imminent. Go to our website. You'll see some great pictures and a video of me in Egypt.
Woohoo!
And that website is cornerstonefirst.com. And as always, John, it's great to speak to you. Whether it's a VA loan, a refinance, FHA loan, now is the time to act. Call us and get pre-approved. Even if you're working with another company, just allow one of my representatives to go over your file to make sure you're getting the best deal for you and your family.
That's all you have to do. Hey, pick up the phone right now. You'll be good. What's the number? 866-625-1221. 866-625-1221. You're going to save a fortune. Want to thank Mark Livingstone for being with us. Yes, he's got a website, cornerstonefirst.com. Thanks, man.